Back to Open. Daren Jaime here with you. We continue our coverage on coronavirus and how it's affecting not just Bronx Heights, but really all across New York City. Everyone's been uh, affected. Hospitals are definitely at the front line in dealing with this, and our elected leaders trying to do their best to bring resources, awareness, and service to many across our city. Please be joined by New York State Senator of the 21st District, Senator Kevin Parker, who joins us now on the show. And Senator Parker, glad to have you.
No, thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. No, and great to have you sharing with us, giving us a little bit of a well-rounded perspective. Talk to us a little bit about Brooklyn, your senatorial district. How is COVID-19 affecting your particular area right now?
Yeah. Well, again, let me just thank you for having me on, and I appreciate the opportunity to kind of talk to your viewers. I first want to just give my thoughts and prayers to the people who have lost folks to COVID-19. There's been a tremendous number of deaths across the state. A lot of them mostly of them in New York City, and so we certainly want to let people know who have lost people to COVID that we're thinking of them and share their anguish. But also want to give our thoughts and prayers to the folks who are suffering with COVID. There's some people right now who are in the hospital, people who are on ventilators, people at home, just suffering through these symptoms, and we're thinking about you and we're praying for you and hoping that you'll get through this soon. And then next, certainly want to give some appreciation to frontline workers, healthcare workers in our hospitals, nurses, doctors, people who are staffing the ventilators, pulmonary technicians, those folks who are making the hospitals run every single day, staff, administrators. We really would just let them know that we appreciate all that they're doing. And then, of course, essential workers that are out there, our police department, our fire department, EMS, people who are delivering every day for us, postal workers, UPS, FedEx, people delivering the young people who are delivering our food, Uber Eats, people are just making sure that we're being taken care of. And then, of course, the folks in the supermarkets who are making sure the supply chains are open, that we don't have a food shortage. For some people, that's the only way to get out. Maybe every couple of days or once a week is getting to the grocery store, and the fact that there's food there. And so we want to thank those folks as well. There's a lot of bargaining units that are involved. UFCW, Local 1500, with our food. Our nurses, NYSNA, the New York State Nurses Association, 1199, PEF, CSEA, are all, delivering for us every single day. And then, of course, TWU Local 100 and the folks at the transit unit. There's a lot of transit workers who are getting sick. They're showing up to work every day. We want to thank them. The trains, the buses are still going, and people are showing up to work at great risk to their own personal health and their own personal safety. And so I just want to begin by acknowledging all those folks, because the city of New York still continues to run and still continues to be open. And that's not a feat, and that's not a small thing. That's really, really important. And then let me just say thank you to the governor and his staff. I've been talking to either the governor directly or to his staff every single day. And the members of the legislature have been, we're doing our job. Last week we passed the state budget. In the state of New York, we're the third largest budget in the entire country, about $180 billion. After the federal government and the state of California, the state of New York is the third largest budget. If we were our own country, Daren, we'd be the eighth largest economy in the world, right? Like, this is not an insignificant amount of money. And the men and women of the New York State Legislature went to Albany last week, spent a number of days up there going through very long briefings to understand what was in that budget, to try to figure out how do we mitigate hurt to people. We came into this budget year already with a $6.5 billion deficit. We were asked to cut $2.5 billion out of Medicaid. We pushed a lot of that back. We did a lot of things in this budget to assist with the issues around COVID-19. We expect in the next fiscal year that we're going to be somewhere between 10 and $12 billion worth of deficit. And so there was a lot of really hard decisions that had to be made, and had to be made very quickly. But under the leadership of Senator Andres Stewart Cousins, the majority leader in the Senate, and Speaker Carl Hasty in the Assembly, those decisions were made, and we had a budget that not it's not great, but it's workable and it's balanced, and it was
Can,
on
can,
time.
can you give a little bit more in depth to me, a little bit about the legislation when it comes to protecting jobs? I think a lot of people are concerned about, of course, job security, and that's a major concern. Talk to
Mm-hmm.
us about the legislation concerning and protecting jobs.
Yep. When we first actually got started, about probably over a little bit over a month ago, we quickly realized that this was going to be a problem for the state of New York, and the state legislature did two things. First thing it did is it gave $40 million to the governor in order to start fighting COVID-19. And then we also gave the governor a set of emergency powers so that we wouldn't have to keep coming back into session, and he wouldn't have to keep checking in every single time he needed to make a move around fighting this virus and this pandemic. And then what we did right after that was accelerate uh, uh, unemployment insurance benefits, so that people, oftentimes you have to be out of work 2 or 3 weeks before you could receive those benefits. We actually changed the law, expanded the number of qualifying positions that could get unemployment insurance, and then also made it easier and faster for people to get, so they could receive it immediately. And so we made sure that people received it immediately. We then, in our budget, have done a number of things around emergency food and food pantries. Organizations like the Met Council are doing a lot of work in Brooklyn around providing food and providing services to people in poverty across the city of New York. Some specific things around ensuring people's jobs, be honest with you, wasn't done. And I'm not sure that there was anything we could do about that in the specific moment. But we're looking at how do we mitigate the economic impact on folks. And so the governor put in a number of executive orders, one stopping foreclosures and evictions during a 3-month period, stop shut-off notices from utilities, so utilities, including your internet, can't get cut off during this period. And we're looking at how do we deal with, obviously people's mounting bills once this period is over. But right now, to be honest with you, we really were just more concerned about how do we get through this period. We're literally in the midst of the crisis right now, and wanted to make sure that we were going to get through the crisis the best way we can. We did get a significant amount of help from members of the federal government. And so I want to shout out Charles Schumer, my constituent, but our U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer, and Kirsten Gillibrand, and of course my Congresspeople, Yvette D. Clarke, Hakeem Jeffries, Jerry Nadler, my brother Greg Meeks, all the congressional delegation, Adriano Espaillat, one of my former colleagues, all who made sure that they brought money back to to the state of New York. The state of New York got about $11 billion from the two bills that were initially passed. $5 billion is going directly to the state to deal with COVID-related expenses. There is another about $4 billion going to rapid transit and the MTA in the state. Most of that going to the MTA. And then there's $1 billion going to the city of New York directly for COVID-related activity expenses, and then about $1 billion going to other counties around the state of New York. And then in addition to that, wanted to acknowledge the hard work of Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez, who've actually who's contracted COVID. And we want to send our thoughts and prayers out to Congresswoman Velázquez, who has been very active on the issues around small business development. And it's in those two bills, there's $30 billion worth of relief for small business. And so if you're a small business owner, you should go on the SBA website. There are both loans and grants, and loans that can turn into grants that people can apply for to help bail out their small businesses. And so between that, unemployment insurance, and then the increased access to food resources, I think that there's some support there to help get us through the next couple of months. And not to mention the $1,200 check that many New Yorkers will receive as part of the stimulus, or I should say bailout that the federal government has done.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, I want to get you one more question to talk about all these things that are happening, obviously, for New Yorkers. there's still some anxiety, right?
A
And
lot of anxiety.
what's going to happen in the future? When are we really going to be go out? What's going to be normal? What's going to be the new normal? So a lot of people have a lot of concerns. Give me your thoughts a little bit about managing this anxiety that we have,
Mhm.
and what would you like to say to your constituents that in the city right now, given these times?
Well, the first thing is that we're going to get through this together. That's the main thing that people have to understand, is that we will get through this, and we will get through this together. And we have to just continue to work together to make sure that, we're taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other. One of the things that I really want people to do is, during this time is, um, first, facts over fear, right? Understand what COVID is about. Understand, how the disease is spread. What goes on. There's a lot of misinformation, a lot of conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And so people should only watch, kind of credited news sources. Be careful what you just click on Facebook and all that other stuff. Watch something that you really is real news, so you can understand. And don't spend all day watching the news. It's depressing. I don't do it. People should just, get away from that. And for me, I watch not more than an hour. I watch the governor's briefing, and I watch maybe another hour of news, and that's it. Other than that, I'm kind of taking care of myself.
ESPN is good during this time.
It is. It is. In fact, I got off of First Take just to come and do your show.
See, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, y'all making me miss Stephen A. Smith, but I'll catch the end of it. But the other thing too is that if you feel like you're being overwhelmed, if you feel like this is too much for you, the state actually has a couple of lines, and one of them is a emotional support line. And so, if you feel like you're being overwhelmed and you're feeling depressed, or your regular routine is being disrupted, call this number: 844 863 9314. Again, that's 844 863 9314. And if there's other information that you need, as it relates to, COVID-19, one of the things that the governor did with that $40 million we gave him was do a 24-hour hotline. And that hotline number is 888 364 3065. Again, that's 888 364 3065. And there's a corresponding website at www.coronavirus.health.ny.gov. Again, that's www.coronavirus.health.ny.gov, and I'll give you all the information that you need. Around.
All right. Well, Senator Kevin Parker, thank you so much, my brother. We got to leave it there, but definitely come on back and we'll have this conversation again.
Absolutely.
Continue to let the city know what's going on. In the meantime, you stay safe, and we'll get connected real soon.
Yeah, you stay safe too. And everybody, don't forget to fill out your census. 10 questions, 10 minutes, and the last 10 years.
All righty. Thanks, brother. Take care.
All right, take care.
All righty. Senator Kevin Parker, our guest here on Open. Stay with us. We do have more show coming up right after this.